The small businesses in your local area are hurting. In fact, they're bleeding sales and customers to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. And the reason for that is obvious. The old marketing methods that they've come to rely on, stuff like word of mouth, yellow pages, and newspaper ads, they simply aren't working anymore. And here's the craziest part. They know that these forms of advertising aren't working, but they keep on spending their money because they just don't have any other good options. And they do this to the tune of $5,000 to $10,000 per month on average. Yes, I said $10,000 per month. This is a marketing budget that's already allocated and already being spent on obsolete forms of advertising. And this is happening in your hometown, and it's going on right now. And it represents millions of marketing dollars being tossed into the wind. And these businesses, they simply can't sustain it much longer. So isn't this strange? While everyone else is busy trying to squeeze $100 per day out of the internet, they're overlooking what I consider the biggest opportunity of our lifetime. What I'm talking about will affect approximately $50 million worth of marketing spend this year in the town that you live in, if you're in an average-sized U.S. city. And this is money that they're desperate to spend, and it's money that they need to spend with anyone who can actually bring them new business. And they also know that the internet is the only advertising platform that can turn things around for them. Because while offline businesses are floundering, they've watched as companies online have skyrocketed. They've watched as newspapers have been almost completely replaced by news websites and blogs. And as Twitter and Foursquare have all but overtaken control over the word of mouth that these businesses have come to rely on. They also know that if they're not reaching their market on their smartphones, then they've already lost the next generation of their customers. But they haven't the first clue on how to tame it. So they're forced to go back to the same old tricks that even they know are blazing a hole through their marketing budget like a blowtorch on paper mache. Talk to any local business owner on your block today and just mention that you do some business on the internet and watch their eyes light up like you've got the map to Treasure Island, because you do, and they know it. And they also know that internet marketing is something that they'll never have time to master on their own. Just think about it. After a day of root canals and fillings, the last thing on a dentist's mind when he gets home is going to be to learn Facebook or Foursquare. They need help and they want in. Hi, my name is Russell Brunson, and if you're still here, then I'm guessing you're bound to be a little excited, or maybe even a little skeptical about what's being called the greatest opportunity of our lifetime. And that's a good thing. You see, all of the greatest fortunes of our time were created in times of radical change. The fortunes went to those who saw the change coming and positioned themselves for the win. Just ask anybody who bought 10,000 shares of Google or Apple when it first came to the market. Right now they're wealthy, but they didn't work for that wealth. They did just one thing right. They positioned themselves on the right side of an opportunity at the right time. And over the past few years, a lot of people have been talking about this opportunity. The ability to become an internet marketing consultant to local businesses that so desperately need the help. Yet even with everyone talking about it, only a few people are actually making enough money to squeak by. Yet there are a select few who seem to have the Midas touch, where they can walk into any business in any city and every time walk out with a contract in hand. Now, what do they know that you don't know? What are the top local marketing consultants in the world doing that you aren't? Well, these are questions that I wanted to know last February when I was invited to a private mastermind meeting in Vail, Colorado. In attendance were 21 of the top local marketers in the world. Some names you may have heard before, while others insisted that their names be left anonymous, and for good reason too. Because everyone there had to open up their black box of secrets and reveal to everyone everything that they were doing that was working right now. Now, to be in that room, you had to be making a minimum of $1 million a year. And you had to sign an extensive NDA and swear to everyone that you wouldn't share anything that happened in that room over the next 2 days. Now, the first person who spoke told a story about how he had recently took on a challenge to prove to himself and others that he was the best. So he went to a city he didn't know, and in less than 3 weeks earned over $1,000 per day up front in his pocket, along with over 5 figures a month in recurring residual payments that would be sent to him over the entire life of those customers. Yes, when you add that all up, it is over $100,000 a year in recurring sales, and he did it in just 3 short weeks. So how was he able to walk into a completely unknown city and in just 3 weeks book over 6 figures a year of business with such little effort? I had to know. But it didn't stop there, and each of them had such different strategies. I laughed when I saw some of the marketing plans, but then I was in awe when I saw others. One guy showed a secret for flipping apps to local businesses for $3,000 or more. Another guy exposed his secret where he walks into any business and within 2 minutes ranks them for their #1 top keyword, live, and then he walks away with a huge check. Now, I didn't believe it until lunchtime that day when I called him out as a liar. So to prove me wrong, he ranked me for a keyword that I thought was impossible before the server had even brought us our food. Now, one of the women showed us her secrets for getting Groupon and Living Social to write her huge checks every single week. After she explained the process, my mouth was wider than the Grand Canyon, and all I could do was just sit there like a wooden dummy, stunned and speechless. If there was a snapshot of me at that moment, I probably looked like a goldfish. But it didn't stop there. The next presenter showed us how he leverages a business's naked reputation score to get hot, pre-sold leads on demand. After seeing this, it shocked me that anyone is still cold calling or knocking on businesses' doors, because this one strategy alone makes all of that completely obsolete. Next was a guy who flew in all the way from Israel to show a software tool that him and his business partner created that they call the one-click closer, because the second a business owner sees it in action, without any selling at all, the clients are whipping out their checkbook asking how much. And last was a guy who showed me an automated marketing system that did all of the contacting, the educating, and the selling of his clients in a way that he never had to talk to anyone, ever. Now, on my flight home the next day, I started to combine all these strategies into one simple blueprint. And I realized that while each of their strategies was very different, combined they created something that was so simple yet so powerful. It made failure virtually impossible. But the problem is that the only people who had to learn those things were the 21 people in that room that day. So let me ask you a question. If you could have been a fly on the wall for that secret meeting, what would that have been worth to you? If it helped you to close just one more sale a month. Now, for most of you, it would have been worth at least an extra $100,000 in extra sales this year alone, am I right? Well, after I got home, I decided to call a few people from that room, just the people I thought provided me the most value and clarity, and had systems in place that I could model very, very quickly. And I asked them if they'd be willing to share that information with you, so that you could see behind the scenes what they were actually doing, and then you could just copy it. At first, the response was not good. That information was only meant for that group. If everyone knew what we were doing, it might not work as well for us, were a few of the excuses that I got at first. So I asked them that if we did a live event and limited the number of people, then would you be willing to do it? After some resistance, I was finally able to convince all 7 of them to say yes. Now, at first we were going to do a live workshop, but I knew that if we did, then you'd have to get plane tickets, fly to the event, get hotels, and a whole bunch more. And I knew that if we did that, it's going to cost most people over $1,000 just to attend. And I know that if you're in a situation where you need this information now, you probably don't have that kind of extra money just lying around, am I right? So I convinced each of them to do this entire event in just 7 days through webinars for free so that you can watch from the comfort of your own home. And instead of charging you thousands of dollars that they would normally charge to teach you their secrets, they're going to let you get on these webinars for free. So why would they do this? Well, I think the real reason is pride or honor or maybe a competitive spirit. Call it what you want. Maybe it's just simple ego. But each of these experts wants to prove that their way of getting local business is better than everyone else's, which should make these webinars really fun and a little competitive. Now, at the end of each webinar, you're going to have a chance to vote on how much you like their content. And at the end of the week, we're going to crown one of these 7 the Black Box Champion. That way you're sure they're going to give you their best and hold nothing back, and you get to sit back and get all of their knowledge for free. Does that sound cool? Okay, so all you need to do to register for this webinar series is click on the Register for the Webinar Series Now button down below. After you do that, you're going to be subscribed to the 7 webinars, and you'll get emails each morning telling you the time for the next live webinar. But be sure to show up early, because we've already had over 10,000 people register for this event, and it's growing fast. Does that sound fair? Cool, then click on the link below. Oh yeah, and if you were to take any of these people out to lunch just to pick their brains, it would cost you at least $1,000 for the hour. So if you've still got a job, make sure you take an early lunch or get off work early each day, but don't miss any of these webinars. I'm literally giving you access to over $7,000 or more in free coaching. But you got to take the next step now and take action. So click on the link below and then write down the dates and the times of each webinar. You'll find that information on the next page, and show up early because you don't want to miss this once in a lifetime opportunity.